Enoch, restoration, and the Dead Sea Scrolls Moses 7 in light of ancient Jewish apocalyptic tradition. A. Introduction. Few texts in early Latter-day Saint scripture invite as much historical discussion as Moses chapter 7. Dictated by Joseph Smith in 1830-31 during his revision of the Bible, this chapter expands the brief Genesis account of Enoch into a sweeping apocalyptic vision. In Moses 7, Enoch converses with God face to face, beholds the Son of Man, witnesses cosmic judgment, and sees a covenant people called Zion taken into heaven. The central historical question is straightforward. How did Joseph Smith produce such an apocalyptic Enoch narrative decades before the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls confirmed that ancient Jewish communities preserved extensive Enochic traditions? This study examines Moses 7 in light of ancient Enoch literature, the Dead Sea Scroll discoveries, and the debate surrounding Richard Lawrence's 1821 English translation of 1 Enoch. The aim is careful analysis rather than polemic. The conclusions lean apologetic, not because alternative views are ignored, but because the evidence resists overly simple explanations. B. Moses 7, the text itself. Genesis 5:24 states succinctly, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." KJV. The biblical account offers only a brief notice. By contrast, Moses 7 presents Enoch as a prophetic seer immersed in apocalyptic vision. Moses 7, 4 records, "And I saw the Lord, and he stood before my face, and he talked with me, even as a man talketh one with another, face to face." This language moves beyond abstract theology into visionary narrative. The text continues by describing 1. The Son of Man ascending to the Father, Moses 7:24. 2. A prophetic view of the crucifixion, Moses 7:47. 3. The gathering of the elect, Moses 7:62-64. And 4. A righteous society taken into divine presence, Moses 7:21. Perhaps most striking is Moses 7:28. "And it came to pass that the God of heaven looked upon the residue of the people, and he wept." The depiction of a weeping, relational deity stands out in Restoration scripture and was uncommon in early 19th century Protestant theology. Taken together, these features present not a minor expansion of Genesis, but a developed apocalyptic framework. C. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Enochic tradition. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls beginning in 1947 reshaped modern understanding of Second Temple Judaism. Among the manuscripts found at Qumran were multiple Aramaic copies of Enochic texts, often catalogued as 4 Enoch, 4Q201-4Q212. Florentino Garcia Martinez and Ibert J. C. Teichel observe in the Dead Sea Scrolls Study Edition, Leiden, Braille, 1997-1998, that the quantity of Enoch manuscripts indicates the importance of this literature within the Qumran community. The Qumran Enoch corpus includes the Book of the Watchers, the Astronomical Book, Dream Visions, the Epistle of Enoch, and fragments of the Book of Giants. These writings emphasize heavenly ascent, angelic rebellion, cosmic judgment, vindication of the righteous, and a transcendent yet judicial divine order. John J. Collins notes in the Apocalyptic Imagination, Grand Rapids, Eerdmans, 1998, that Enoch literature represents one of the earliest and most influential streams of Jewish apocalyptic thought. This is significant because Moses 7, dictated in 1830, reflects a similar apocalyptic architecture. Joseph Smith described a theological world that would not be archaeologically confirmed until more than a century later. D. The Son of Man, parallels. One of the most discussed thematic parallels concerns the Son of Man. In 1 Enoch 48, 3, Richard Lawrence, The Book of Enoch, the Prophet, Oxford, 1821, the text reads, "Even before the sun and the signs were created, his name was named before the Lord of Spirits." This portrays a pre-existent, divinely designated figure associated with eschatological authority. Moses 7:24 states, "And it came to pass that Enoch beheld the Son of Man ascend up unto the Father." Both texts present 1. A pre-existent Son of Man, 2. Heavenly infinite imagery, and 3. Eschatological authority. Importantly, no clear verbal borrowing pattern has been demonstrated between Moses 7 and Lawrence's translation. The parallels operate at the level of theme rather than direct textual duplication. George W. E. Nicholsburg and James C. Vanderkam Noten 1 Enoch, A New Translation, Minneapolis, Fortress Press, 2004, that the Son of Man figure in 1 Enoch functions as a divinely authorized eschatological judge. Moses 7 presents a similar role, but integrates it explicitly into Christian salvation history. This suggests structural convergence within apocalyptic thought rather than simple literary copying. The Book of Giants and textual diversity. The Qumran fragments of the Book of Giants further demonstrate that Enochic traditions existed in multiple literary forms prior to the Common Era. Lauren T. Stuckenbrook's The Book of Giants from Qumran, Tübingen, Morsabek, 1997, shows that Enoch was understood as a revealer of divine judgment to rebellious beings. This diversity weakens the assumption that the Book of Enoch existed as a single fixed text. Instead, Enochic traditions appear fluid and multifaceted. Moses 7 does not replicate the Watcher's narrative in detail, but instead emphasizes covenant Zion. This distinction is noteworthy, as it suggests theological development rather than simple reproduction. The Lawrence question. Richard Lawrence's English translation of 1 Enoch was published in 1821. Its existence is undisputed. The more precise question concerns access and dependence. No diary entry, letter, or library record currently demonstrates Joseph Smith's possession or use of Lawrence's translation. Hugh Nibley argued in Enoch the Prophet, Salt Lake City, Deseret Book, 1986, that the text was rare in early American circulation. More recently, Colby Townsend has suggested in revisiting Joseph Smith and the availability of the Book of Enoch, Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought 53, No. 3, 2020, 41-71, that assumptions of extreme rarity may be overstated and that indirect exposure through religious print culture is plausible. However, plausible does not mean proven. As the evidence presently stands, 1. Direct literary dependence remains unproven, and 2. Complete isolation cannot be definitively established. Historical caution is therefore appropriate. Internal theological coherence. In 1844, Joseph Smith delivered what is known as the King Follett Discourse, stating, "God himself was once as we are now, and is an exalted man." History of the Church 6, 305. He further declared, "You have got to learn how to be gods yourselves." HC 6, 306. These teachings emphasize embodied deity, exaltation, divine counsels, and eternal progression. Reconsider Moses 7 in that light. Enoch speaks with God face to face, Moses 7, 4. Zion is received into divine presence, Moses 7:21. A relational, embodied deity weeps over humanity, Moses 7:28. The theological seeds of the later sermons appear earlier in Joseph's work. His theology develops, but it does not emerge abruptly. This internal coherence strengthens the apologetic interpretation. Conclusion. The honest assessment. Several points can be stated with confidence. First, ancient Enoch traditions existed and were influential in some Jewish communities. Second, Moses 7 reflects genuine apocalyptic themes found within those traditions. Third, no documentary evidence proves that Joseph Smith copied Lawrence's translation. Fourth, Moses 7 contains distinctive covenant Zion theology not dominant in surviving Qumran fragments. The interpretive options therefore remain open. Either Joseph Smith independently anticipated significant elements of ancient Jewish apocalyptic theology, or he restored theological material through revelatory means. One need not accept the latter conclusion to recognize that the former demands careful consideration. The discussion is no longer simplistic. It is historical, textual, and worthy of serious engagement.